Hello everyone, this is Snow, and, well, I've noticed that both of my Fire Emblem Heroes videos have quite decent amount of views compared to the rest of my channel, or compared to my channel's recent videos. So, I've decided, hey, let's go another step forward, and what if I was in Fire Emblem? And not just in Fire Emblem Heroes, but rather in general. So, for me, this is how to make a Fire Emblem OC. So, where do I start? So, I guess I'll start in what will I be, like, in general. So, what kind of class would I be? Now, I'm going to go, I guess for the purposes of building OC, since it's not really in a Fire Emblem game, you can't really make a story out of this character. However, if maybe, like, insert it into a Fire Emblem game, maybe. Also note that I've only started Fire Emblem since Shadow Dragon, so although I have seen the Game Boy Advance ones, I have not been exposed at all to Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, but I have seen Blazing Blade and Sacred Stones, but I've never played them. I probably will in the future, maybe, I don't know, but we'll see, since I have a good computer I can probably emulate better. So we're going to take into account Awakening and Fates. Mostly on the latter, for growth rates, skills, classes, etc. Okay, so let's take Fates into consideration. However, I don't know if Echo is going to be how things work be different, but we'll just go from the Fates. So, first things first, what class? Now, if I was given a unique class, since there are characters with classes that can only apply to them, right? For example, the dancers usually apply to them. Sometimes when you get shapeshifters, like Key-In or Kaden, although there are classes about them, they're mostly just themselves. They're the only characters who can have that class. Alright, so if I was in a unique class, let's go take like one of my oldest OC or something. Just so you know, I have not made a drawing of my original OC, because I can't draw for crud, but if it's going to be a unique class, he'll have wings. Not just he's riding on a horse like a Pegasus Knight or Sky Knight. He has wings. He's like an angel. However, he would not is not a transforming class. So certainly that's his own thing. Granted, if it was my original C, he would have a transformation, but for the purposes of Fire Emblem, he does not have a transformation, but he does have wings. So you'll have the movement of an infantry unit, but you can go anywhere due to having wings. Due to this, you'll also be weak to bows. So that's his main class. His main class would be an infantry unit, but has wings to flying movement. However, because it's a flying unit, he is still weak to bows, despite being an infantry unit. Okay, weapon choices. Sword and staff. It's just like, sort of like the Trickster in Awakening. However, it probably will be sword A, staff A or B. I can't really decide between, like, I guess I'll say sword A, staff B. Or if we're going Fates, go by Fates like limits, because it was Awakening, go SS. But for the purposes of this, it's sword A, staff B. Now it'll be kind of the same when we say sword S, staff S, but there isn't much reason to be sword staff S, since, yeah, there's no real reason to, because they're bridge locked to their specific classes. So, I'll leave it at that. Now, what would be the growth rates of the class? So, before I go to the growth of the class, I want to go to the growth rates of the character, since the growth rates of the class kind of alter for the growth of the character. So, my character in general, not just in that class, but in that class a bit more expressed, would be more of an anti-mage melee unit. That's what's the main idea of this character. It's mostly defensive in general. However, it's not an armored unit. It's more high resistance, so high defense, and decent strength HP, but very low in everything else. And maybe some skill because of the main secondary class or the primary class if I don't get a unique class. But we'll get to why later. So it's mostly a anti-mage melee unit. That's much the main idea of this OC. Would have I put these numbers in. However, if this is getting too insane for you guys, then for those of you who know Fire Emblem, just go ahead and say it in the comments. However, and if you have a better idea for an anti-mage melee unit with high natural defense as well, so it's basically a defensive unit overall, but is more likely to get a resistance boost. HP 40%, strength 35%, magic 15%, skill 40%, speed 5%, luck 15%, defense 50%, resistance 70%. That's That's kind of the idea. Now, I did look into growth rates of other characters and Fates, so this is balanced out by according to Fates characters. And yes, I do have a unusually high resistance stat, but it's offset by a very low magic stat. Now, if you're wondering, yes, I have a lowest magic stat, and I'm a staff user. Okay, I'll just leave that idea there. Okay. Now, the growth of the class. Now, the growth rates of the class reflect the fact that my LC would be a high resistance character. So it would be HP 10%, strength 10%, magic 15%. Remember, I said magic 15% because it's a staff user. Skill 5%, speed 0%, luck 0%. Yes. Defense 15%, resistance 20%. That's the growth of the class I have in mind. Now, skills related for this class, it mostly, oddly enough, be more focused on healing and defense. So, I haven't have a specific things in mind. Let's say, for example, maybe like the final skill of that class. And if it was a unique class, it would probably be like obtained at the level where most unique classes that don't promote go to. I forget what number it is. 35, I think. I don't remember the number exactly. In which you heal a certain amount based on percentages or based on a fixed amount, regardless of the magic stats. Because you know how Fire Emblem Heroes, almost all their healing is a fixed amount. I think the exception is rehabilitate. I think that's the only exception, but for the most part, it's like fixed. So maybe have like a fixed healing number, and for defense, maybe have something similar to Warrior Fighter, or I forget the name of it, Warrior Fighter or something, where the opponent doesn't double it regardless. I don't know. But I don't know. It's just like a thought I have. So if that's not to your liking, if you don't like this unique class, I have a backup. Now, if I am not given a unique class, if I'm just a regular class in Fire Emblem, let's say, for example, oh, hey, if you were to say in Fire Emblem Heroes or something, what class would it be? So it kind of takes into account what kind of moves and kind of stuff you'll have. If I'm not a unique class, if I'm just a secondary whatever character, I would be Mercenary, secondary class Cavalier. And in the event that if I get a third class, like Awakening does, because I know Awakening you can get three classes, I believe. If I was given a third class, Priest, just so I have some more healing percentages. So base class Mercenary. So that would mean that I would promote to Hero or to Bow Knight. However, with my character's growth rates being somewhat of a high skill, but mostly defense related, I probably would be more suited as a Hero character than Bow Knight. But of course, Bow Knight, I would have, access to range weapons. But Hero, it's mostly the main thing, so it'll be mostly of a Hero class. Because I think Heroes end up being my favorite class of Fire Emblem. That or the Paladin class, since the Paladin class, which is why I put secondary class Cavalier, is that I've noticed in Awakening that the Paladin class has a naturally high resistance stat. So that also part would apply it here too. So it will be more like Mercenary, have high skill, decent attack, but and everything else, and Cavalier have maximum resistance. And I guess Priests, more or less same thing. I have some magic stat in order to compensate for my low growth rates in magic, just so I can heal a bit more effectively. Now, I've noticed in Shadow Dragon that the Mercenary and the Cavalier and Priest are in different reclass sets. Therefore, if I were to choose between Mercenary, Cavalier, and Priest, because Cavalier and Priest are in the same class sets, just so you know, yes, I have checked Shadow Dragon's weird, like, reclass sets things, in that characters can only reclass to certain other classes, but there are no certain class combinations. So anyway, if I had to choose between having Mercenary and having Cavalier and Priest in the same class set, I probably would still choose Mercenary, since that's the main class and how the main class is focused around. Okay, so that's pretty much the main thing. That's like, what if I was a character in Fire Emblem? Now, since we're talking about Fire Emblem Heroes now, what Fire Emblem Heroes does, now, I don't really have anything specific in mind, but actually, you know what? Let me do that.
2 hours later.
Okay, so if I was in, let's say, Fire Emblem Heroes, which is, you know, the mobile game, yes, I'm going to do the same thing as I did to what if I was in Record Keeper. So, what if I was in Fire Emblem Heroes specifically? Now, maybe if Fire Emblem Echoes comes out, maybe make a video on that. I don't think so. But if it's popular, maybe. So anyway, if I was in Fire Emblem Heroes, what would my character be like? So, first of all, what would be my movement range? What would be my, preferred weapon? If you haven't already guessed, it's going to be Infantry Red Sword. Yes, there are like 1.5 tons of characters that are Infantry Red Sword, or Red Sword specifically, or, yeah, you know what I mean? But it's my character, and my character is a Red Sword. Yeah, generic Red Sword, whatever. But what makes this character different from other Red Sword characters? I mean, you wouldn't expect my character to be like Yoroma, who has a main weapon that can do range counter, or be like, I guess Lucina, who has like crazy stuff involving her Valshian and how fast Corrin Mail is, or Lynn and how crazy she is in her speed. But I guess I would be more defensive. And yes, I am aware that the more defensive Red Sword users are just the worst characters in the game. Yes, I have checked. Like first of all, who puts Hinata in the game and expects him to be even decent? I mean, Hinata's not even good in his own game, so what makes him good in this one? I mean, he has Fury, but with skill inheritance, you could just like eat him up and then put him in some other character. Plus, Eldigan has Fury. I have Eldigan, whatever. I think Fury is more of a troublesome for me. Or was that a whatever that other thing? And Draug, which I think Draug, I forgot. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's pretty cool because he's the only armored red unit. However, I've seen other people make tier lists for the game, and without skill inheritance, he's supposed to be the worst sword character. So what makes us more different? So I've already said before, with my main class being more resistance oriented, and I think there is a resistance red sword user, but you know, but I don't think it's like, I think that person's name's Fear, whatever. That I don't know if that's a boy or girl, but what would make it different? I'll probably be more of a character to take advantage of the fact it's more defensive than usual. For instance, my weapons would be more the standard sword set. However, I would have a unique weapon. No matter what, I have a unique weapon. Now, I mentioned this in my What If I Was in Record Keeper video, that I do have a signature weapon, and I've like having my OC with that signature weapon for years. I don't know if it's decades by like almost around a decade or so by now, but I haven't really shown much of it. So imagine this. Imagine a really curved blade, right? It has we expect of a large like cutlass. However, it has like a spike in the middle of it. That how do I explain it? I'll show you the picture or something. But it has like a spike right there in the middle of it, and the whole blade is, I guess, made of some sort of material that's covering a lot of like ice, and then there's like a part that goes inside of it that's like some sort of cold, like cold liquid or cold generator or something that makes the whole sword much colder. And I named it the Ice Saber. Now I know it's kind of generic name, the Ice Saber. No, but I just feel like, can you tell if it's 2 words or 1 word by the name Ice Saber? Heck, you could call it the Eye Saber, like iPhone or whatever, and you wouldn't know. That's what I call the Ice Saber. So the Ice Saber, which is actually a cutlass, which is my main weapon, and being a signature weapon, it will be Might 16. And what would be the innate effect? Because every single like 5-star sword or 5-star any weapon has some sort of effect, and usually that effect has something to do with guess like affecting the special acceleration, or in the case of the the central weapons for other people have effects similar to other passives in the game. I would have with the Ice Saber, although I wouldn't, if I were to like put whatever thing I would want, I would not even be stupid, but I would put innate Wary Fighter. Now, what is Wary Fighter? Wary Fighter in Fire Emblem Heroes, I think it applies to other games, but in Fire Emblem Heroes in general, it means that my opponent can't counterattack if I'm above a certain HP percentage. So if I think Wary Fighter 3 is at above 50%. So if I'm 50%, if I'm over 50% health, then my opponent can't double, which is kind of nuts considering that my OC is more resistance based and that has a huge speed flaw. So in that case, it wouldn't matter that much. Of course, that would mean that I can't counterattack either. So I can't counterattack, my opponent can't counterattack. However, if I'm really low on health, my opponent can easily double me, quadruple me. So it's kind of like Archeops the Fetus, so to say, where for lower health I'm pretty much screwed. But I have ways to unscrew myself. So I chose for my character to not have any assist whatsoever, which is kind of nuts considering how let's say having rally whatever, or even drawback, or even pivot, or those are other things on my mind. Ardent Sacrifice, given healer, but we'll get to the healing part later. Any specials? Now, yes, I would have specials. As I have no assist, I will have a special. So I chose to have Glacies, and my Glacies is Chilling Wind and Glacies. Again, it's again due to the high resistance stat, so have a more special that reflects resistance. And since my character doesn't have that great of an attack stat, and Glacies will probably do one heck of a damage. Granted, Glacies does take longer to activate than what was the other one? There was another one. I forgot the name of it, but I think his name. Great, I forgot the name of it. Iceberg. I think it's Iceberg. That it had the same activation rate as Chilling Wind. Chilling Wind, was it? No, one less activation rate. Yeah, one less activation rate. So it would be better off technically if I just want to spam that special. But again, I'm the kind of character who would take my time. So Glacies. So and any passives? Now I choose the passives. You would think that I would choose the passives for someone who's more resistance oriented to have, let's say, Green Tonebreaker or Resistance Plus or Warding Blow. Instead, recall the beginning where I want my character to be some sort of healer, even though it's not as good of a healer. So the best ability to describe it's Breath of Life. So Breath of Life, what happens is if I initiate an attack, if I have any allies like adjacent to me, it would heal for a little bit. I think for like a 3 HP for version 1, he's 5 and 7 HP for version 3. So that's what I want to call off healing, really. And what's the other passive that my character would have? Renewal! Renew and Breath of Life in one character. Yes. yes, I would not mind having my character be basically chow for any healer or any aspiring off healer, like, I don't know, Felicia or Setsuna, to go all ham. Or turn me into ham, I don't know. So I would heal myself every few turns to unscrew myself with the Wary Fighter effect. So that's much like my idea. So I'd be the kind of person who will just charge into mages and not get hit much by him, and then hit him back when I'm in range. That's what the character in Fire Emblem Heroes. Okay, so that's all for this idea. Wow, 20 minutes. I don't know if I'll cut any out, but if you have any ideas for what kind of character you want to be if you were in Fire Emblem character, be it in Fire Emblem Fates, Fire Emblem Echoes when it comes out, or we know more information about it, or Fire Emblem Heroes, which is a lot simpler to do. Heck, or even the older Fire Emblem games, if you choose, if you like it so much, you could just choose to go there. I didn't went there because I'm not familiar with them, but maybe if I get familiar with them, I'll have idea. But since you have an idea of the kind of character I would be, I guess you could figure out what kind of stat growth rates or whatever I would be if I was a different Fire Emblem game. So that is all, everyone. See you guys later.